struck, one of the doomed.
Well, welcome everyone to this is the first of its kind of video since I finished Green Space Studios, with all of your help, which thank you so very much. I've been lovingly asked by a friend of mine who I did a rock opera with, Azakaela, to review their album, which I'm super stoked to do, and the first title track is called Become. I apologize. I'm really looking at this for the first time so as to not spoil anything for myself. The album is available for purchase, my friends, for $9. I'll be putting it in the link in the description. Azakaela truly is someone that loves music, and really the thing that we're wanting to listen to for this album is the emotional context that it provides the listener. So without further ado, and without gilding the lily very much, my friends, we're going to jump into this review right now because we have 40 minutes of wonderful video to be part of. I will also be trying to commentate throughout, but not talking too much over the actual stuff, because I want you to hear everything. And let's enjoy some music. Friends are so good.
Become flame, become spark, become still, become motion, become sky, become ocean, become one, become two, become me, become you, become now, become forever, become vast, untethered, become rise, become fall, become nothing, become all, become star, become man, become truth, you transcend, become one, become two, become me, become you, become now, become forever, become vast, untethered, become small, become all, become none, just become whole, become free, become all you can see, become light, become dark, become flame, become spark, become still, become motion, become sky, become ocean, become one, become two, become me, become you,
The yearning here
become
almost.
now, become forever, become vast, untethered, become rise, become fall, become nothing, become all, become star, become man, become truth, you transcend, become one, become two, become me, become you, become now, become forever, become vast, untethered, become small, become all, become none, just become whole, become free, become all you can see.
So if it's not apparent, this really is about from what I feel like, a level of kind of like reflection and connection with each other. And there's a yearning in this, I feel like, in terms of wanting us to realize that we really are so much more similar than we are different, but also about self-realization and the emotional, like, space that it takes in order to go to that sort of distance, that sort of experience of having that sort of level of self-reflection. So this is like a mantra track in my mind, where almost the vocalist, Azakaela, is actually really speaking to themselves in the hopes that those that hear it afterwards can resonate with the message of self-acceptance and love. Because there's so much imagery in here in terms of like becoming part of the universe, becoming part of the world. It's brilliant. So I also realize, looking at my meters, I'm going to try and save my commentary for the end of the songs. I will be periodically maybe talking to the mic, but I have the volume up in order to make sure that you can really hear everything, because there's nothing worse than a music reviewer like, I can't hear what's going on. The incredible thing in terms of this song is that I connect with this kind of music because I grew up around a lot of music that was cyclical in the way that it was meant to sort of draw you into a trance. So this song really brilliantly accomplishes that by bringing you in, and I feel like it is sort of setting the tone for the rest of the album. I could be wrong. This could just be are you ready for this journey? So without further ado, we're going to jump into the next song called Divine Feminine. A couple other notes. The panning, brilliant. Love the different voice parts being panned at different sides. Love the bass. And I also really love the key progressions that were going on, and also the dynamic range that was happening with the guitar at the end. Oh, different. Instantly, actually. Yeah, we were invited into this experience. Okay. Oh, it's great. Really brilliant syncopation here with the pads. Oh! I'm using Sure I Am, and this bass is just tickling my brain. Powerful. Mixing here is also brilliant. Caleb, well done. When you have a lot of bass frequencies, sometimes it can feel very muddy. In this case, it doesn't. Kind of panning is happening. Not only is this brilliantly written, but it's also produced very well. So, this song, I feel like, didn't need words to get across the feeling of what Divine Feminine is, which is power with presence. Sometimes you don't need words in order to convey an emotion. And really what this felt like was more of like a platform for like discovering one's own divine feminine nature. And a lot of people say that's like, oh, you didn't like, men are masculine and women are feminine. It's like, no, we all have a little bit of a balance of in between. So what this actually brought up in me was this feeling of power and the idea of being a nurturer, of being someone that is powerful, that is also like guarding their family, and essentially being a protector of that which is precious. So emotionally, it really kind of girds you to try and feel a little bit more powerful in the softness of who you are, which is brilliantly done. Not only like that, like I said, the panning and the mixing in this with a lot of bass frequency was actually so well done. I'm really, really, really impressed because a lot of mixes that you hear, a lot of the elements get kind of squashed and sort of lost in that. So that was really brilliantly done. I also like that how the title track brought us in, making me feel like we were going to have a very kind of spacious experience, and this was immediately like, hey, don't forget to focus, this is an experience, we're right here. So with that, we're going to go on to the song Forever. Okay. Oh, hell yeah, we're going on a freaking adventure, dude. Oh, this would be so good for a video game, too. Growing space.
Forever, forever.
sorry. Okay, before we have to address this entire song. So, I think the most brilliant aspect of this entire song is actually how the different instruments in their range frequencies actually play off of each other. The bass range actually makes me feel like I'm being chased by something, while the more trebly range in terms of the synth pads, in terms of the melody, in terms of the voice, make me feel like I'm someone that is being chased through my own experience. It's as if I'm being hunted, actually. That's the emotion that it kind of came up for me, but also it's like the inevitable feeling of our experience is forever. In my mind, it made me think a little bit about what's beyond life. You know how we think it's like, oh, you think that life is the ending of this experience, of the feeling of the chase of existing, of moving forward at all times, while also simultaneously having to stay ahead of that which is following you, which is death. And it made me feel both entranced and excited all at the same time, and it somehow managed to make me not feel necessarily afraid while being menacing, where it's like, no, this just is. This experience of this sort of level of natural anxiety is just actually what's part of existence, what's part of being alive. And it kind of was comforting in its own way, because I feel like a lot of times we avoid thinking about death, we avoid thinking about loss, we avoid thinking about mortality, and this song forever made me realize it's like, no, our experience, as far as we really know, is perpetual. And it made me think about that in a lot of ways. A couple things in terms of the audio engineers that may watch this. I think it's really, really brilliant. The use of texturing in terms of the panning back and forth between certain things. The leveling for the song was brilliant. The only constructive criticism that I would give is a little more clarity in the vocal. I really love the texture and the sound of the vocal, but I think I got a little bit lost besides hearing the word forever. That might also just be me, so be aware, friends, listeners. It may be that you can pick things up super clearly, and maybe my hearing, for me, that's a frequency range where I'm kind of like, huh? Other than that, vocals were brilliantly mixed in. I didn't feel like that they were distracting. That's the only bit of constructive criticism I would give, but that's also personal preference. So I think this song was really brilliant. I think that so far we're into the third song. I was expecting something completely different from this album, and I'm pleasantly surprised. And that's a really hard thing to do with music, where you have a title track that you're like, oh, I'm set in for this kind of thing, and instead you're pleasantly surprised by the expansion of what is being unfolded before you. Were like, oh, every single song so far has its moment, has something for me, has something that emotionally brings me into the song. So, without further ado, we have the song Clarity afterwards, right now. Oh! As a guitarist, I already love this. Because I like string sounds. It's so good. A nice groove with drum metronome towards the rock. If it's too straightforward, you're like, all right, but this actually draws you in. So speaking directly to the writer of that, Kayla, this track really moved me because I've been feeling this particular emotion a lot recently, which is having a level of clarity around discovering my own self, discovering what ails me, what I need, what heals me. And there's a beautiful sadness to having a level of clarity. There's a quote from a Tibetan teacher that I hope I'm not paraphrasing too intensely here. By awakening, we see our confusion more clearly, and there is a beautiful sadness to that, because in a lot of ways it's a really, really profound and beautiful experience to have a level of clarity and waking up to what is and who you are and realizing who you are. But there's also a profound sadness because it's like, well, why couldn't I have experienced this the entire time? Why didn't I see this? Why didn't I feel this? And then there's a sense of relief of it at the same time, where there's a release of emotion, a release of letting go of the old stories that we have about ourselves, that of who we thought we were and the things that actually were causing us more harm than good, and releasing the expectations that we may have felt like others had of us, and really starting to recognize that it's really only our own congruent action within ourselves that defines who we are, and that we cannot control the perceptions of others. So again, this song really has to do more with identity and the beauty of really experiencing that fully. I'd be very surprised, I'm grateful for music like this because it moved me to tears, and it's very hard, I feel like, to have a instrumental piece that can do so. Again, because I'm also a musician, all I could think of the entire time was just me screaming over this, not like death metal screaming, but like singing something over this with the feeling of like release around the fear of not knowing who I am and finally seeing who I am. And again, brilliant track. Going from the very beginning of this, where it really, again, this is very on theme. Everything so far has a really, really beautiful texture to it that I feel is brilliant in the fact that it doesn't feel like a departure from a title track. So again, I don't mean to harp on that too hard, but oftentimes when we have a body of music, it's really hard to keep everyone completely engaged the entire time with a congruent message. And so far, that's what this has accomplished. The next track is called Biblically Accurate Angel Birdcage. It also is 3 minutes and 33 seconds long. I invite you to look that up, my friends. That could be a very interesting thing, because there's something called angel numbers, and I find it interesting that a song with the word angel in it has an angel number for its title track. Not title track, sorry, it's track time. Taking elements of the previous song and really kind of expanding them more here. I feel like I'm being transported back to a year of like Pro with Brandon Lee. Don't get twisted. Stargard's great, but I didn't like his version. There's some real like angst in this, even in the play style. You can feel it in how it's being played. I really love the grit in the guitar tone here. I also enjoy the attitude of the bass guitar. guitar in this. This is all done by the same person, by the way. So there's not a band. This is a single entity. This is Azakaela doing all of this. Find the right groove and you're just vibing with it, dude. I know that feeling. We wait for the reverb tail. Hey, if an artist leaves a reverb tail, says the guy that stopped 3 seconds before the tails ended, like a complete dork butt. So, interestingly enough, again, thematically, this is still, I would say sonically, this is a bit of a shift in the feel of the album itself, but it's actually emotionally on point, especially with the context of the name, biblically accurate angelic birdcage. For me, what this actually brings up in terms of how I feel like it is, we have the songs Become, then Divine Feminine, then Forever, then Clarity, right? So we have the idea of recognizing the need to become oneself, the recognition of the Divine Feminine within oneself, the expression and interpretation of realizing that one's experience is eternal, happens forever. And then having a level of clarity around, okay, well, then what does this mean? And then realizing that there is still a frame and structure in which we are existing that has a level of, like, being confined. So there is a level of anger here to me, anyway, that I maybe I'm interpreting that myself because of how it's making me feel. But I really feel like this sense of clarity and, you know, wakefulness is like, oh, I'm finally discovering really who I am, and then you realize, crap, there's still a cage around me. I can experience all of this beautiful self-realization within myself, and I'm still living in the confines of that which is around me. So, how do we deal with that? And I believe really just feeling how there was a lot of attitude within, a lot of sort of, I don't want to just like vaguely call it angsty attitude. There's anger there, but there's also a sense of purpose in how Azakaela plays their guitar, which is why we have certain riffs that repeat for good thematic use. But then there's also the lead part that really is sort of a kind of almost, it felt like a thrashing against that which is. So now we go from a song title that's called Biblically Accurate Angel Birdcage to A Sentient Bucket of Slime. Interesting change in visual here. Continuation of the feel of anger. What am I in the context of that which I discovered? A lot heavier here. Not a bad thing. great delay effect there. Let it go to the end, dude. Let it go to the end. No, you don't get to spoil me yet. Icicles. That's the next title track. So, we have, angelic birdcage. Biblically angelic birdcage. Biblically accurate angelic birdcage. Angel birdcage. Oh my god. You'd think with someone that know how to read, right? Which I do audiobook readings, that I'd be able to actually read biblically accurate angel birdcage. Right? Sorry about that. So, what we have is, in my mind, again, a progression of this story. Really, there's really more of a story being told here, but I'm getting to interpret it for myself. So maybe I'm totally off base here, right? But sentient bucket of slime, I'm kind of imagining having this realization, right? That you're discovering yourself, and you're discovering your own divine feminine. You're experiencing your level of foreverness and clarity, and then you find the cage that you're in, and then you realize that the cage has judgment, and that's why you are in the cage. And there is this sense of rebellion of like, the things that you find displeasing about me, I am going to stand up and go, I accept and love those parts of myself, and screw you. You cannot hold me down for who I am and pick and choose what you like and don't like about who I am based off of your own personal preference. I am an entity unto myself. I am all of who I am, which is, becoming one with everything and having that sense of, essentially integration, which I think is really, really, really brilliant. So it's kind of a song that made me feel like, yeah, there are things about myself that others might not feel are appealing. Screw you. They're me. Which I think is brilliant, because sometimes there are definitely aspects, I think, of ourselves that, as long as they're not causing active harm to oneself or others, not everyone is everyone's cup of tea, but we don't need to marginalize people for different aspects about themselves, we have the choice of who we socialize with in our own way. And to me, this was kind of a really powerful statement of like, yeah, I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. I'll find my people. Brilliant. The next song is called Icicles. Bit of return with an aspect of intensity and urgency. Urgency to release now that you've expressed yourself. Ah, yeah, Kayla. everything in this album so far has something for everybody in terms of a love for music. If you're into punk, if you're into rock, if you're into electronic, if you're into synthwave, this so far has a lot of beautiful diversity in it. This song specifically made me feel like there's a real journey being undertaken now with a sense of purpose to escape that which is caging oneself. So again, this album being called Become, emotionally, this journey is very, very clear to me, which I think is, again, like I said, I hope that I'm not repeating myself too much. It is challenging within a body of work to get a concise feeling across while also exploring various aspects of oneself and the journey that we go through, because a lot of self-realizing journeys, they're not clean cut, they're not simple, they're not, oh, I have realized I have a mission, I must go forward. That's story that that we read a lot about. That's what we see in films, in terms of more simplistic storylines where we have very easy things to follow along. This is a far more complex but also concise message, which I think is really brilliant. To have a level of complexity in the fact that we're experiencing different aspects of ourselves and the breadth of what each of those emotions are, fear, anxiety, and really exploring kind of more of the dark corners of those things, we're getting a much clearer picture of what it's like to be a human being, discovering oneself, becoming, as it were. So, the next track is called Transmission. Oh, some really incredible pad that's being used. And again, really, really good use of space within the mix. Okay. All right. So, interesting turn. I love that the rhythmic vocals came in, because that's what I was instantly feeling. It's like, oh my god, please let there be vocals in this that are kind of like heavy and like punching and also like rap style. And it delivered with a great glitch sort of sound, which actually is kind of sort of telling to what this made me feel. It's like, okay, one has found their place in the world by being a digital glitch and everything that is trying to create a sense of level of normalcy and blandness, actually. So the message here is that, like, oh, been caged? No. I'm going to figure out how to make sure that I'm not caged. you didn't check this lock, did you? And then creating a level of expression and freedom for themselves through a digital form of media, music, and through the internet, and being able to be oneself completely and freely, because there are, apart from, you know, certain obvious laws around certain kinds of content, there is no, you can't stop people from expressing themselves in terms of their musicality online, which by extension is themselves. So brilliant transmission of like, hey, you can't, you will not keep me confined. I love that. That is so good. So our next song is called Onk, because I'm reading on a teleprompter right now, my friends, and it's hard to see some of what I'm reading sometimes.
Oh my god.
Yes! I love a little levity, but at the same time also the way that they that piano. That had some serious tune in it, dude. Sense of like real. Silence is the frame around that which music resides. That was brilliant, Kayla, to have a level of actual silence, to have growth, and then actual space there. Wow, yeah, so, again, what this brought up more than anything was a sense of self-assuredness, but also kind of a level of, like, if things are going to be menacing, then I am going to stare it back in the face with the same level of certainty and not blanching away from the fear of that which is around me, which is really brilliant. And that's what it brought up for myself. Again, also just dynamically in terms of the song, I really loved just slamming on these piano bits. There's something to be said for dynamics within a song that can really change the mood of something. So if they just played the piano that they were gently, right? I wish I had something to actually play for you guys in order to do that. Maybe I'll do that next time, where I can show the difference between slamming and hitting. You really get this sense of purpose and intensity, which is the culmination actually of the entire body of work beforehand, which again, it's this piece that's really coming together. I'm almost sad that we're coming to the end of it. This is, the final song before our finale, Waves of Shadow Water, and I want it to continue for. I'm gonna have my own final thoughts at the end here of the entirety, but just this sense of purpose in this song. Again, I also really love the style at which that was being created. I know that sounds super vague, but to have a song that has, it's not a detuned piano, but a very viscerally recorded sample of a piano within the frame of context of very, very beautifully crafted digital sounds. The juxtaposition between the two is just kind of, it's raw, and I love it. So without further ado, we're going to go into Waves of Shadow Water. Huh? Pardon? Don't you do this to me. You had a glitch. There we go. I feel like I'm being invited to re-listen to the entire album, actually. That's what the emotion is. Water's not wet. It's like smoke, but it doesn't choke you. For more here, I feel like, as well. The journey's not over yet necessarily, but it can be rediscovered over and over and over again, and each time you experience it, you'll get something new out of it. I think that's, in the end, what we all kind of hope with the experience that we have with our music, is that each time we listen to something, we discover something new. great release. Wow. So like I said, I know I was talking a little bit over that. That was this beautiful sort of like pad that kind of drifted through us. And again, Waves of Shadow Water is a really great and appropriate way of describing this sound, because I felt like I was being bathed in a sense of, I guess, shadow water, which, isn't wet, but it is cleansing me for sort of a next go around. And that's why I feel like we're going to actually I'm going to play the beginning of this album, Become, again, really quick, in terms of, Pardon! Where art thou? No. Where to go? I'm going to play it one more time. If I can find it, if I can figure it out, because I'm a total dork, but, I must have clicked on something because Artifact is up there right now. This album, I have to say, in totality, is brilliant because it brings you through this massive personal journey, and I think that everyone can relate to this sound in their own way. For myself, I've been rediscovering myself and discovering new aspects of who I am, and so this album was really kind of healing for me to listen to, especially on a day like today when I have to deal with some interesting things musically. So I really encourage everyone to go check out this album, Become, by Azakaela, because there is something for everyone musically, not only just from the actual enjoyment of different sonic textures and sounds, but because the actual feeling that is drawn out of you is relatable to everybody. I think we all can agree that discovering oneself is a lifelong experience, and at periods of time we really feel like we've arrived, and then we realize that we're in a level of self-deception around who we are, and we have to peel back more of the layers of illusion of who we think we are versus who we are becoming at all times. The entire album, I was so grateful that I was just enjoying myself. Sometimes I feel like with hyper-produced music that I hear on the radio, it is something that I can tune out to, which is welcome in some ways in terms of a distraction sometimes with dealing with reality. And at the same time, I think that I really crave music like this for long drives, where I get to have an emotional journey, where I get to feel like I'm peeling back the layers of who I am, where I get to feel, the sadness of not understanding my place in the universe, the anger at which I feel being confined by the structures and social expectations around myself, at the thrill of discovering parts of who I am, discovering my own masculinity and femininity through music, which was really, really powerfully done here. While also connecting to the artist at the same time. I feel like a lot of music, it is a love letter to us, right? Musicians are merchants of emotion, and in this case, I really feel like Kayla has refined their craft to a degree where I can really feel like they are saying something themselves, which I can grasp onto, but there's enough space for me to interpret it for myself. And I think that's the genius of a really brilliant writer, is that there is space for one to actually experience something wholly unique to oneself, as opposed to being spoon-fed a particular message. There are obviously songs that it's important to have that, but in this case, this album really was saying, this is the platform upon which we are standing, this is the stage, this is sort of the mood that we're talking about, this is sort of the experience that we're going towards, and you're going to have your own individual experience with the sense of self-discovery and becoming, and then afterwards you get to have the joy of what that feels like, which I feel a lot lighter. It's, it's earlier in the day, it's nearly midday now, and I'm excited to go about my day. So I really recommend everyone actually go and get this album. It's only $9. It's all really brilliant music. You also have to check out the fact that Azakaela has an entire discography as well. No. I'm clicking on the thing. Okay. 28 releases, including one in which I was actually lovingly a part of, which is called Artifact. I'm not going to play that because I want you to go discover it for yourselves. It is a rock opera. It is brilliant. I loved it. Everyone that was a voice actor in it, I was so grateful to be a part of. So if you enjoyed this music, my friends, please, please, please go down the link in the description below, my friends, and actually check out this album by Azakaela. Look into their channel as well. They have some really brilliant, fun videos. There's a series called Talkie that's coming out. And in general, support your local artists. I know in a digital age where we're having a lot of stuff that's coming out that's around AI and things, it's really exciting to some people and it's a tool to some people, and there's a lot of divisive nature around it. But we have to remember that at the end of the day, it is artists who pour their heart and soul into their craft that give us the experiences that which we crave in order to break up the mundane experience of everyday living. Support the people that create beauty in your lives. Without art, life isn't worth living. So, hope you enjoyed the review. Please go check out their music. And also, if you want to check out anything else that I do, I stream Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays on Twitch in the evenings at 4 p.m. Pacific, 5 Mountain Standard, 6 Central, and 7 Eastern. I play a variety of fantasy RPGs, sing songs from Lord of the Rings, Mighty Python, and The Witcher. I'm also a blacksmith. If you want to get your own custom knife or sword or ring, please check out the link to my store there. And if you enjoy this review, please like, share, and subscribe to this space as well, my friends. Please know that also if you do subscribe to this, you're going to see a lot more book content and potentially book review content. A lot of the books that I've done recently are being moved to my Patreon, which will also have a link in the description here as well. And as always, remember to take care of yourselves, tell someone you love them, and remember that you're worthy of the same love. And keep searching for meaning, friends. It's out there. Just keep looking.
Part of the shrub, one of the two.